The flow is very important. We work with interior designers for the same reasons, and we want to work right at the beginning because we would actually understand the flow, the way you walk through the restaurants, how you are approached by the host desk, what position is the host desk, what is the gesture that a guest does the moment the guest says, okay, when the hostess says, please follow me, you don't want to put the guest in an uncomfortable position where he's going to feel vulnerable. Therefore, you have to follow their flow. Interior designer, at least most of them, they don't think of that. And you as an operator, you see from the top, you don't actually visualize that. Well, what we do exactly that. We visualize the path that the guest has, and he has to be the most natural way to feel empowered. That he goes to the dining room, that he knows where he's going, he doesn't feel uncomfortable, and he goes to the table, and there is that kind of flow. And that's a big part, a big piece for that restaurant to succeed.
Welcome to Captive Conversations, brought to you by Captive Wi-Fi. I'm your host, Adam Forman. This podcast brings you the best stories from suppliers, marketers, and operators from our beloved hospitality sector. Now, let's get on with the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Captive Conversations, episode 82. I can't believe we're on the run up to 100. So we've got quite a lot booked in over the next couple of months. So it's going to be an interesting one. I have Massimo from Restaurant Keys. Thank you for coming. We've known each other for a while, actually, and we've done some projects together, which is cool. And I'm really interested to hear your history and some departing knowledge on what you know, so let other people know what can be done. And if you want to give everyone a little wave, hello.
Hello, everybody.
Beautiful. Perfect. So we're going to start with the two questions. That was Mark from Tenzo.
Yeah.
And one of his questions was, what do you think vendors can do to better support restaurants as a collective?
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. I love your podcast. I've been following you, and I love your guests, and I'm proud to be here.
Thanks.
The first questions that I think I would like to mention is that the vendors, I love the way they are approaching now. And if they all could actually focus more on the customer's journey, on the service journey, will be a flow. So the vendors that they will do that within the next few years with the whole introduction of AI and data and everything, I think if they're able to understand the customer's flow and the flow of the stuff, they will actually achieve a better results.
I agree. I think it's a massive game changer when they take you from beginning to end.
Yes.
You often get stuck in that piece of, you've got that piece of software, wherever it might be, or new POS and so on, it's just given to you.
Yeah.
And then there's no follow through.
Yeah.
And then you're left. And then all the operators left, which isn't a bad thing for you, because then they come to you and you fix it. So I agree. Okay. Second question. The best hospitality marketing or loyalty campaign or app that made you take notice via email or whatever?
What makes notice, and I think what's important is that we focus on what's relevant and what's relevant to the individual. And I think we should put in the hospitality as a whole, we should put more focus. And that has to do with marketing, and marketing done well, and marketing done also from the people on the floor, the operation. So I think what it's important that we focus on is on being relevant to the consumer, to put it that way. So if we can do that from a marketing, and that's what I see when they are relevant, and then I open their email and I read it through. If it's too generic, I'm just going to scrub it.
Have you got an example of one that you've recently seen that hit you, or they're all pretty generic? Because it is difficult to get that.
In the hospitality, they're pretty generic.
Yeah. You want to know that who you are, what your family is, what your likes are, and then make it really customized to you, right?
Exactly, yeah. But what they get it right is those platforms which they get you to do a questionnaire ahead of time, and then you get a very tailored email that feels like it's relevant. And I think that's what we should be doing in the hospitality. I think, and it's very challenging to do that. So one way that I would recommend if we could do that is that we listen to the people on the floor. I think what we do most of the time, it's an head office thing and it's a marketing team, and we don't really talk to the people on the floor. So I think we need to kind of link the two, and the people on the floor need to actually be empowered to do so. So I'm very much a floor person, and I believe that that's what it all starts. So, so if we kind of, I know this is a solution, but it could be a way actually to achieve that.
It's again, we're talking like silos, right? When operations are siloed to marketing.
Yeah.
And there are some really cool brands that we've spoken to in the past that have really done a good job of bringing that together.
Yeah.
And when I think if the brand can bring it together,
Yes.
then the conversation piece, as you said, for the floor people, and then marketing goes on the floor and has that conversation. It opens everything up.
I can give an example of something we did with a brand. This was a while back, but it was very extremely successful. We had a TripAdvisor reviews that they were below the mark, and we needed a strategy to actually overcome that. So everyone was thinking a way to do it, and then I said, you know what? Why don't we start from a people on the floor? And what we did, because it was a busy restaurant, we were doing 1,000 covers a day. So what we decided to do was to actually empower the people on the floor and recommend to do a review only to the people that we would get a good review out of it. Then when we would get when we would get their name, the manager would actually put on a note for the marketing manager. What did they have for dinner and so on. So not only will we empower the customers to do a TripAdvisor review, an email was tailored to them. How was your dinner? Did you enjoy the steak? Because they may add a steak, and then say, oh, please do a TripAdvisor review. Within 30 days, we went above the mark.
Yeah.
And that showed exactly the power of the people on the floor being actually involved with understanding that. For the marketing understood the power on the floor, and the floor understood the power of marketing. So the link.
No, I think that's great. You know what? Weirdly enough, I was in of all places. My kid does dance and in West, like miles. I don't live anywhere near Westfield Stratford, but she had a dance thing, so I went with my wife, and we were like, my wife's gluten free, allergies, and like easiest place, Pizza Express. Keep it simple. Yeah. So we went to Pizza Express in Westfield, and I've not been to Westfield Pizza Express for years, and walked in, sat down. Awesome waitress, like she was insane. Wasn't even that busy. She was every question was answered, and at the end, she gave us this little laminated QR code that she'd made with her own, not from the site, and was like, I'd love to get if you have enough time, if you have an opportunity, and you think I did pretty well for service. I hope really good experience. And she gave us a laminated piece, a little card with her name and the QR codes. And it wasn't the businesses doing it, it was her. And we both looked at it. I left it like an amazing review because that's the initiative.
Amazing.
That was insane, right?
Amazing.
So I think, if you can get the team on locally to do it as well, I think it's definitely, it's the buy-in, right? It's the buy-in.
Yes, it's the buy-in, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Let's go to the standard hospitality, standard questions. Best hospitality experience.
Okay, this is a very tricky one because I travel a lot due to what we're doing with Restaurant Keys. And on I keep flying with Emirates. And that's when I feel the hospitality. I think it's a struggle nowadays to feel hospitality in many places. They tend to do an amazing service most of the time, but you don't actually feel that you are a host, that the host is actually behaving as a host. While what we feel in Emirates flights is always, whether you end up being flying business class or economy, or being a gold member or a silver member, whatever you are, they treat you with the utmost respect and you feel hospitable. So they're there to help you. And not only me, maybe because I'm a frequent flyer, but I see other people. They see an elderly lady. They help her to put a bag on the cabin. They're literally very, very hospitable. And I think that's there is a lot to learn from airlines that they're actually doing well. Don't learn from airlines that they're doing badly, because we have some airlines which do the exact opposite, and I tend not to want to fly with that. But Emirates now seems to excel from that part, and I think that starts from leadership to actually goes all the way down to coaching as they go. And I think the team members, they really excel on making you feel special when you fly with them, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're so successful.
Yeah, I agree. It's an insane brand. I think that I only hear good things, and there's lots to learn from them. Actually, to be fair, I'm surprised someone doesn't do a course on how to be like them.
How to be like them.
It's interesting. Some hotels really excel on the same.
Yeah.
They look at those touch points, and some airlines do the same. And in restaurants, it's challenging to get to that detailed because you've got such a huge turnaround.
Yeah.
So
I think what Emirates is doing right, not only they get it right from a leadership standpoint, therefore it comes down to coaching and training, because training without coaching on the spot doesn't do anything. I think you still need to do that on the spot, and they have an enormous training, which is through role play and all of that. which sometimes in hospitality nowadays we just don't have the time to do
Correct.
that. But what I see another brand that does that really well is a watch house here in London. In any watch house you go, you have a feel of hospitality. And it starts from the way they look. They all look spotless. You go to some coffee shop, they have coffee marks here and there. You go to watch house, they're so busy, but they all smile. They all have a clean aprons, and they're all very hospitable.
Yeah.
And the same with Emirates. You know, they're all spotless,
Yeah.
all of them, and they're all very hospitable.
I agree, actually. It's actually, I'm going to say this is a weird one, but it's nice to go into a coffee shop without a kiosk.
Yeah.
Or without having to order on an app. And there is an app, and you can if you want to. But you're right. The way they've built it, it's welcoming.
It's welcoming.
So it's really interesting. And yeah,
and you notice as you walk in,
it's pristine.
Even if you are in a queue, and that's very important, I feel. Even if you are in a queue, you are the 10, 15, or 20. Someone behind the counter is gonna give you a high contact. They acknowledge that you are in a queue, and that psychologically will shorten the time that it takes from position 15 to actually order.
Yeah, you mean something. Yeah, I completely agree. And the lovely news that they've got expansion. So in America, it's going to be I can't wait. That's going to be it's going to be interesting because the hospitality in the US is fantastic. And UAE here, hospitality is great. But I'm really interested to take there because they've already got one site in New York. Yeah. But their expansion is going to be really interesting to see. Okay, best hospitality tech.
Best hospitality tech.
Yeah.
Oof, that's a challenge.
I know.
That's a very difficult questions to answer because there is so much tech out there. But I think I'm going to give an answer to this in a way that it's what supports the people on the floor and doesn't only do dashboards for the head office. So if there is anything out there that actually does that, that's the best hospitality tech. But there is so many out there now.
Yeah.
But if I have to point out one, it's the one that will help you generate more covers.
Yeah.
And the more covers are generated via two ways, through the marketing or through the marketing in-house, through the people actually walking on the floor. So if there is a tech that can actually link the two, that would be great. But I think what generates more covers, what generates more numbers, what generates more database, that's what I think would actually naturally, without being forceful.
Yeah.
So that would actually.
I've got a lovely platform that does that, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, let's go back in time. Let's do a little to see where the journey started. Were you obviously? I know you were in hospital, but early doors.
Yeah.
Like, where did the journey begin?
The journey began. I'm Italian. As you can probably hear from the accent. Moved here back in '98. So in my first job, I worked in Italy. I done the hospitality school in Italy. I worked summer season in Italy where you just get the bones for it, we say. I'm lucky enough to have grown up in a small town in Italy where you learn that the psychology of getting along with everybody. Because in a village that you have 1,000 people, you just need to get along with everybody, even the people you don't like. So you kind of understand that. And then the season I would work summer jobs on school, so that you literally learn at 14, I was working to 3 months. And some seasons I was making more than my dad.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's insane if you think about it. Because you work at that time, you'd work every day for the whole 3 or 4 months or 5 months that you were able to do, depends on the break from school. Then you go back to school, and then you end up being the richest kid at school because you have all the money, and then weekend you start to work, so you start to make money because you become. But I was a waiter, literally a waiter, and I done all my school in Italy, and then I moved to the UK. I moved here. This is really interesting for some of the youngest people. We would actually go to coffee shops or cafes, internet cafes, they used to be called.
Yeah.
I don't know if people maybe know that, but they used to call internet cafe. You would actually log in into your email, grab your CV, print them out, pay for the printout, and I would go hotels. I picked up the 5-star hotels in London, and I would go door to door to the HR department and drop my CV. I went to all the 5-star.
Any posting as well? Did you post any?
I didn't post.
You know?
I did believe that door to door it's how it needs to be done. So I would just go through the back door, try to find where the back door is of the Ritz or the Connaught, and I would just do that. And I went to the back door of Claridge's, and that's a very interesting story. I went to the back door of Claridge's, I knocked at the door, I put the CV down. The HR manager was like, "Oh, do you speak 2 words of English?" I thought I spoke English because I studied in Italy, but I had zero English whatsoever. And she took me upstairs to the restaurant.
What?
There and then she took me to the restaurant, say like, "Okay, here is Mr. and Mr. Both Italian restaurant manager, assistant restaurant managers." And they interview me. The interview was a chat while they were having lunch in the dining room. That's how it was at the time. And they asked me to debone a Dover sole right there on the spot. I debone a Dover sole.
That's insane.
And they say, "Okay, we want to hire you." So we had to overcome the English thing. So we just did that, and I was hired literally on the spot. I started to work 2 days later at Claridge's as
Thank God you could debone a Dover sole.
Thank God I could debone a Dover sole.
Sometimes.
I think they would have hired me anyway. I think it was just like they needed a Dover sole deboned.
For their lunch?
For their lunch, yeah. But that was my first experience. And there is a lot that I can say that experience which taught me what service is, what hospitality is.
Especially at that level as well. That's not just going into a coffee shop or going into a casual dining restaurant. That's leveling up to, to back then and specifically as well.
Back there is 98. It was different service. Yeah. I was not allowed to touch a table until I spoke the Queen's English, they used to say, because there is a different English that you need to speak as you deal with that type of clientele. And it's important that you understand that. And it's not the English itself, it's the way you answer when something is asked from you. Mm-hmm. And what do you say, what you don't say, and how you say it, and how you behave, how you move your hands, the distance of the table.
We call that now perception and intention, right? But back then it was just, you got to do it the right way.
You got to do it the right way. So the distance, you learn the distance of the table. Are you too close, are you too far, how far you need to be. The funny thing is that the people who've been working there for 50 years, I call it the head waiters with white hair, they used to do that so naturally. But I had this psychology understanding. So I was trying to understand how they were doing and what they were doing actually. That was so naturally to them. And that took me to the next stage, which understanding the psychology, understanding body language. And that helped me a lot in the future because there was really something to learn from the people and how they were handling and how they were talking to customers. And that was one of the lessons that I'm still bringing with me because it was the very traditional services that you do to
Was it white glove as well, but then or not?
No, white gloves were already removed because they were considered dirty.
Oh, really? Wow.
Your hand is cleaner than a white glove.
Yeah.
Because the white glove, once it gets dirty, it's dirty. Your hand actually it's cleaner once, of course, it's washed if it gets dirty.
Of course. That's so interesting. Okay, so from waiter and then
from waiter, I worked at Claridge's. Then from waiter, I moved into head waiter. And I become, at Claridge's, I become the master of the crepe Suzette. Because I love cooking by default, I become the master of crepe Suzette. So on any given night, I was just making crepe Suzette.
That's insane.
In front of
fun as well.
And then you would talk to people because I had a natural way of actually engage with the customers. So I would make crepe Suzette and engage and have a good conversation with the customers as I was making the crepe Suzette and go there and people would wait that I would go and make a crepe Suzette.
Yeah.
So that
and it's a theatre, right?
It's a theatre.
There isn't that many that do it. I think Carbone do something similar.
Carbone do something similar. There is one restaurant in St. James that they do something similar. They have a trolley.
Yeah.
And actually they sell. I think it's something that done well in the right concept. It's very good to have.
Yeah, I agree. I think the theatre. It's interesting. I think that some places, I think the theatre's missing. You know, I think there's definitely that piece of someone wants a little bit extra.
Yeah.
And that theatre with we were talking about is definitely.
And it was so dark. The lights were so dimmed down that when you do actual flambe, the light comes up, everybody sees it, and everybody wants it.
Yeah.
So you all it took was to sell the first one, and then and then you are on the roll. And then you
that's insane. Okay, so and then where
from there, I mean, then the Claridge's. I left the Claridge's.
What was that like leaving? Like, were you like, was it quite sad? Because it was a long journey of like learning through.
At the time, it was like after 2 years at Claridge's, it's like you've done the army for 1 year. Now it's time to go because it's like an army. So you do that, and then you go to the next step, and then it's like a passport. Once you've been there, you can go anywhere. So I went for a bit of traveling. I worked in Bermuda for a bit. And then I came back in London and I started to work as an assistant. Was that
a needed break after 2 years?
Yes, after 2 years. You need a break. You think you need a break, even though you have your holidays, but you think you need a break. Even though I was working normal 7-shift standards, but the pressure and the intensity was high. You had to be so immaculate, perfect.
You had to be on it, right, all the time.
On it, perfect. The moment you walk through and you go and you put your uniform on, just putting the uniform on, it wasn't easy because you had to pull the buttons and we call it the penguin, So you have to put that on and then you go into the dining room. Just that thing takes you kind of an army kind. But then from there on, I had an open card. So I worked with Hush, which is no longer there, as an assistant manager. And then I made my way up. I've done several places along the way to reach me to Hush. I've done St. James. Which is no longer there. Those restaurants, they're no longer there. They've been institutions.
Yeah. Was that the St. James's? Was that the big one?
Just St. James.
Just St. James on the 2 floor. I loved that. Was one of my favorite restaurants to go to with my wife. It was insane. The food, the service, the quality.
There was a senior. Was there already a senior level management, and I was working with one of the colleagues of ours that has been working with us for many years, and we were running the place. And I'm still proud of that. We did a long period together. And we achieved the great things. It was before 2008. I remember pallet of champagne sold into that place. That place was massive.
Yeah, it was huge. The upstairs was amazing.
The ground floor was restaurants and bar. The mezzanine, which was private dining, and the basement was a club, restaurants club. Yeah. So it was a massive place. They took me into a journey of more of a big places. Yeah. Big operations.
You end up learning more because you've got more bar and the private dining. It's an interesting learning curve.
What you learn there, you learn to not only running a restaurant. A restaurant, it's great, but you learn to run different outlets and big teams. Because there is a difference of running a team of 20 waiters that you have your service, but once you have a big teams that you start to get to the 100 to 200 mark, is a different ball game. Requires a different leadership style and methodology. And once you are in that, and that was my biggest challenge, try to get there. But hopefully I was always in self-help, so self-help helped me. I did as well some courses on Westminster College at the time to actually improve my management skills. I did work at Marriott prior, did the opening of the Marriott in Canary Wharf, so done hotels as well, which they did an amazing trainings for leadership and management, which they also gave me some set of skills that I still use today.
Yeah, it's interesting. The pedigree is insane, like of all the history, and it's nice because the learnings that you pick up throughout. What was it like from Just St. James? Was quite a while ago. Yeah. What was it like with people management back then? Because leadership is difficult, especially in 100 and so people in that sort of space. What was that like?
The pattern that we see between managers and assistant managers was there was a kind of a more of respect to the position. So you had an advantage, but still, in order to be heard, you had to lead from the floor and coach from the floor. So they would respect you then because you had the title, but then in the long run, they wouldn't if you didn't.
Yeah, if you weren't seen, if you were that general manager in the office doing nothing.
No. So, but what I've always been good at is that village mentality. If the kitchen porter 2 weeks earlier told me my wife is pregnant, I would pass by. I would go past by and say, "Oh, how is your wife?" And that helps you. that helps you. And the good thing is that you can do that intentionally, or you can do that just because you do that as a part of your scope. And to be frankly fair, I did it it was my nature to do that. And I always, when I do my training to new managers or coaching new managers, I always tell them, try to hear people when they talk to you, and then go back to them, check with them, because it's that relationship with the team. So that's how I was managing, and that's how I would achieve things. Because once you manage with emotions, not only with your role and the positions, then you'll achieve better results.
I think I wish there was more time nowadays for that. I think technology is definitely helping. There's some really cool tools out there that allow asking the staff members, how was your shift, and asking questions on there. There's some nice brands we work with. They've got some really clever tools that will alert the general manager if something goes wrong, so then they can take action. Because right now, I feel like now that the GM's role is expanded into so much more, rather than just focusing on the floor and the teams. So it's really interesting, the changes, because you're saying back then you'd have the respect of
the role, of the position, but also you had to still be a leader from the inside. But you had the respect. But I think the difference also made at the time that we would, when it was a lunch break, we would sit all together and have a meal all together without the phone next to us. So we would talk. And even you are having lunch, you can actually get the people's feelings, if they are sad, happy, not happy. So you know if you need to take that person on the side and say, look, what's happening today? Are you okay? Are you able to handle the 40 hours? It's a Saturday night. Now, first, managers don't sit at the table anymore. Second, they all sit. If they sit at the table, everyone is on their phone. So you don't have that anymore. So it's and I think
that'd be quite a nice thing to bring it back. I was at a client about a year ago, and it's a small restaurant, and they were doing star food downstairs, and they were all, because it's tiny, so they all sat at the edge of the bar, eating, chatting. It was really nice to see. I think one person's on the phone, so I think it's quite nice to sort of bring back the put your phones to one side. You know, don't go on social and then have that human. But they were doing it beautifully. It was really nice to see.
That would help so much. That bonding. It's better than any team building that you may trying to do. And managers should be sitting there, not only team up with, but also reading the cues between them. Are they going along? Is the stuff okay? How is the behavior with this stuff with that? They should be able to read that as well, and that they will become a better manager, a better leader.
I think also, I think potentially it gives them the option of having that conversation piece of, if there is something wrong, or that staff member bringing something up without worrying of that hierarchy piece. So it's an open conversation. You know, oh, by the way, this has been broken for ages. You know, I've been telling X, Y, and Z, or something like that. It's an interesting conversation. I think we definitely need a campaign to.
I think we should do a campaign. But I'll give you an example of how I would motivate a team member in their settings. If you're sitting there, and I remember, because I remember the face of one team member, she would say, "Oh my God, tonight I have 40 covers in my sections. I don't think I can do it." Then all it would take for me to say in front of everybody, I say, I think you can do it. You've done it before. You can do it again. Now we're just going to get on and do it. That acknowledgement, that power boost in front of everybody else would give that waitress the power to actually go up and actually get it done and do it the way she's done it before.
I think that's you're absolutely right. I think also an acknowledgement. It's really interesting. Like, talking about things now, it's interesting to hear what you're saying, because it's relevant in everything, in everyday life, right? And the acknowledgement piece, but it's interesting, the psychology piece of what you've learned and what you've understood, and putting that in place. You're right, absolutely right. From a high level person saying, "I have faith in you," is a massive boost.
It's a massive.
Just there, and just their brain frying away from that being told.
You say you've done it before. Well, why you cannot do it now? You can do it. And that puts not only that person, all the others go like, wow, if she can do it, I can do it. And then everyone works together. Every shift, it's a pressure. And every shift it's one goal. So I always say that every shift needs to have a clear goal and a clear outcome, and everyone needs to work together for that. And you need to go there. Like firefighters go into a house to distinguish a fire. we're going into a shift. So
That's stressful.
What's next from just St. James?
Yeah.
I went back to Bermuda to support one restaurateur that was opening 9 restaurants. So we did that. At the time,
was that a break as well as enjoyment, or
I think no, it was more like, because I was there before. It was like, okay, do you want to come over? And because I have got big plans and I need help, and then I said, okay, I'll come over. I always like openings, so I tend to that pressure of actually getting something from nothing to open always was within me. So I just went there and I did that for 2 years.
Oh, 2 years. You were there 2 years.
Yeah, to open 9 restaurants, it takes some time.
Yeah. I can.
So it took 2 years.
Were they restaurants inside hotels, or were they restaurants independent?
Mix.
Okay.
Was a mix of restaurants. So it was like some in hotels, some freestanding, some on the beach. Yeah, it was.
That's a lot of learning as well.
A lot of learning. A lot of learning on every model. And back to tech at the time that we had to figure out how to bring customers in, and Facebook was just out with Facebook advertising, and I was probably one of the first as we start Facebook ads. To fill up the bar. And I remember that some of the people didn't even realize there was an ad.
Yeah.
They would actually,
it was on their feed.
They was on their feed. It was so old. And and if you see, because it was still done from my account, because the owners had no idea. I have still a Facebook ads account that is one of the shortest numbers ever.
Yeah.
Because it was really one of the first.
And you need to share that information. I'd love to see the post as well. It'd be hilarious to see. You should definitely share that. That's interesting. What made you bring on the Facebook? Where did that come from? Was it something you saw and you were like, let's try this? Because early doors, right?
It was very early doors. What I did in 2008, I took a course on business coaching, which I wanted to become a better leader and coach other managers. Along with that, when I went to Bermuda, even though I was opening 8 restaurants, it was a very laid-back environment. So I decided to write an ebook. I wrote an ebook on how to open a restaurant. And I was trying to figure out ways to sell that online from Bermuda, which I did. And I was introduced to Facebook ads. And that's how I was introduced to Facebook ads. Then I did Google ads, Facebook ads to actually sell the ebook, which was extremely successful at the time.
Yeah.
And I was actually I was understanding affiliate marketing, all those things that are in that type of world. And I understood Facebook marketing. I said, oh, wow, I can actually target people in Bermuda for the bars that we're opening. And that's how I did it.
I love that. I love that. It's interesting to be early on as well. And you're right. People didn't realize they were ads. They were just, oh, this is on my feed.
Yeah.
Someone must have shared this.
They had no idea it was an ad. They just
and they just came.
They just came to the bar. They just share. And it was so inexpensive to do the ads there. They was totally back. And we created parties, we created community, we got partnership deals, because of course all of a sudden we became one of the best bars on the island.
And no one understood how.
No one understood now, because it was back in 2009.
Yeah.
No one understood why. Yeah.
So 2 years of setting up that must have left you with a nice bolster of what to do. What was the journey after that?
The journey after that, I came back to London.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure where to go, but I came back to London because you always come here. Back in London, start to work again. Had several experience. I worked with Gary Rhodes at the time, Michelin star restaurants. I worked at the Lesborough. I had a good experience with Gaucho, with Martin Williams. And then I went to open Aquashard, which was my last opening as an employee.
Yeah.
Aquashard was a beast. And
really was a beast.
It is,
oh
and
God.
It was one of my openings that I'm still proud of.
Yeah, that venue is insane.
That venue is insane.
I heard the story that part of it wasn't actually yours. Like the bar wasn't part of the property or something like that, and then you just sort of you took it. I don't remember the whole story, but there was some hilarious story hilarious story that area wasn't part of
the atrium was the atrium. Look, when you open in a high-rise building, is different from anywhere because you have to share a lift. Even the process of opening something, it's more complex. And you're opening something on 31st floor and so on. But that was called the atrium. Look, it's a very grey area. It's yours, so it's not. It's there, and you need to fill it up. And I remember one of the challenges that I think still stick with me and the team is that it was so big we planned for restaurants in terms of staff and budget a lot smaller. But then we were busy, but we looked empty. So we had to do something about it. And I think that was the trigger that made that place succeed. We did everything we could to fill it up, even the atrium that was an empty space. And all of a sudden the place started to be full. We struggled with staff, as you do, but we went on recruiting what we needed and we filled it up the place. Because there is an element when you open a restaurant, you need to fill it up because you have to feel busy, but at the same time, it needs to be not extremely overcrowded because your team cannot handle it. But you always need to look busy. And that's what we had to do. And I think that was one of the things that took us to the next level. We opened first for dinner, then we opened for lunch. Then we did afternoon tea.
Was Hutong always there? Or was that afterwards?
Hutong opened a week before Aquashard.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. So Hutong first.
Yeah.
Is the same company who owns both.
Yes, of course.
So we did, I was in Aquashard. We were supporting Hutong where we could, but head office was Hutong as well. So the marketing team, everyone was with that. So we opened them 1 week apart. And that's a team of 200 people to run their place.
Wow. Yeah. You don't think about it because I mean, I've been there loads. I just don't think about how many people specifically on 2 different restaurants and the kitchen downstairs but behind Aqua is insane.
Yeah.
That space is insane. But
and
my ears still pop as I go up the.
We had to do overnight shifts to make sure that you have enough space for the chefs to do prep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we opened afternoon tea. We launched afternoon tea. We launched breakfast. So now they still do breakfast, lunch/brunch when relevant, and afternoon tea and dinner. Yeah.
I think the events there is the most insane thing I've ever seen.
Events as well.
People, right, as well. Like I think I went to. We were helping out with the events team years ago, and they had the. Sony Music Awards. I think they had it 3 times there, year after year. And I remember being there, helping out with some Wi-Fi stuff. You know. And I remember walking down. I needed to get into the data cabinet at the back, which is by the back, which is actually your wine cellar / where you're
the corridor at the back.
The corridor in the back room that has a data cabinet and then wine everywhere. And I walked in and it was a VIP area and the big bouncer's like, you can't come in. So I just pulled a network cable out of my pocket and I went, I'm the IT guy, walked past Simon Cowell and the other celebrities into the back. But it was insane. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. The events that they've done at that space is just insane. It just does it. It really does. It's so unique as well of what you can do with it. I think there's been so many. I mean, it is an event space. I think it's an event space with a restaurant. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, no, the restaurants. I mean, it's a full-on restaurant, and then you turn into events. So you need to make sure that you coordinate everything. You get the furniture out. You get the furniture in. You get the
in the lift.
You know, and we've done also we've been supporting the group after we left as a restaurant key. So we've done Christmas trees, we've done afternoon tea, marketing strategies and development. So to do a massive Christmas tree, that is not easy.
How do you even get
during the flower show? You're doing something it's not easy. So the coordination is extremely important,
and especially the security there. That getting in is through the side of the building. You walk like half a mile.
The loading bay.
It's insane. So, and I think it's really weird because I've only ever seen the restaurant be busier than the hotel. It has its own restaurant. Which is really interesting. But that must have been a very eye-opening experience with a lot of stress for opening that space.
I think it was a high level experience, but we also there was one team at the time. I don't know now. I'm not involved, but there was one team between people on the floor and the marketing team at head office. To give you an example, if the covers on Thursday were not where they should have been for the Saturday, the marketing team would do something about it. So they will look, Saturday we should have 180 to do 300. We only have 110. We probably going to be short. So what do we do now? So they would look at the covers and then marketing team would actually do something.
Nicely integrated into that's bringing ops and marketing together, which back then wasn't super popular.
And that's how we did it. From the floor, we would always target the number is 3 or 4, for example, this is what I'm telling managers now as well. It's like target is 3 or 4. Everybody needs to be aware that it's 3 or 4, and we need to do 3 or 4.
Yeah.
The girls on the book, the waiters, the runners, everyone need to achieve that number, and it's clearly communicated along the path of success during the covers, because every business has a number. In your industry, maybe it's the number of leads that leads to potential clients, but in the restaurants business, it's the number of covers you do day in, day out.
Yeah.
And that's the number. Every business has a number, and it's the number of covers. In order to achieve all of them, you need to have always that target, and it needs to be across the board.
So was Aqua the last one until then you started?
It was Aqua the last one until I started, and then I kind of moved into the world of supporting people opening restaurants.
Yeah.
And partnership, turnaround. So yeah, that was my.
What was that like? I mean, obviously it's scary starting afresh, and you were early doors before most people.
Yeah.
Starting that role. So I mean, now there's lots and lots of. And it's interesting. There's not just
after COVID,
consultants, but now, especially after COVID, there's now there's fractional marketing, fractional ops, and so on. So it's interesting. I don't think there's that many that do the full circle, but there's lots of people that do independence. What was it like going from? I mean, the buzz of doing Aqua to obviously the buzz of setting up for yourself, and obviously you have a nice black book of people you know, and a nice pedigree. So did you start what was the first piece of the consultancy? Was it just pulling out your contacts and having conversations, or was
it's basically all started by understanding the fact that I like doing openings. So that was the thing, and I saw a pattern on openings. Most restaurants would open without considering that you actually have to run the restaurants. So they would go through the idea, the concept, they would go through the design, and then 3 months before, when they hire the managers, they go like, but we haven't thought of this, we haven't thought of that. And then you struggle.
Big commonalities. It happens a lot, isn't it? The design, right? And then there's not enough to eat. There's not enough tills. There's not enough people on the floor. The architect's done one thing.
You don't know where to put wines because we didn't think about the wines. And I know some are organically, some restaurants, they started organically. The founder is maybe amazing. There is some restaurants now, they're successful because they started from scratch, but they didn't even consider that you need the storage for the stock. And I see this over and over then, and I see this now, today, still. So I wanted to close that gap. So ideally, that was what I wanted to do. Because I like to do openings. And if you go solo or with a team like I have now, you want to do what you like, and you don't want to do what is asked from you, and you do everything. You cannot do everything, but you do what you like. So yeah, I do openings, and I like to do openings.
Is that why? Sorry, I got to ask the name. Is that why?
Restaurant keys.
Is that why? Because you're basically giving them the key.
We were exactly.
I love that.
Restaurant keys is the keys. Yeah.
I didn't even think, to be fair, until you said that now.
Yeah.
And you need to change the title on your website and to tell the story of it, because you literally are giving people the keys.
Yeah. Technically, that's basically.
I didn't even know. My brain didn't go to what it means.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I've known the name for a long time, obviously.
Yeah, it's 10 years.
The brain connection to the story is so much more powerful.
Yeah.
You definitely need to
it's opening the restaurants.
So, that's amazing. Okay, so you went. What was the next piece?
The next piece was an operator that needed a bit of turnaround to actually partner and open a second place in Europe, and then reopening here in London. So that was the first piece. So we did a quick turnaround. The restaurant was extremely busy, but the numbers they were not what they should have been for a busy restaurant like that. So it required a bit of leadership management, change it. So we worked with the management team, to actually just change that. That's all it took. It took to speak to the management team. They were all amazing. Everyone was great. The restaurant was busy. The food was incredible. So we worked with the management team to actually just change the behavior on how they were handling things.
So that's really interesting. We see a pattern with other restaurant groups we work with, or other partners we work with, where new ops will come in and they'll just slice, and then they're like, I'm going to bring my own team in. But you know what? As you said, if the GMs are doing a good job and they're working and they've got good resonance with the staff,
Yeah.
As what you were saying, build on that,
Yeah,
train them, coach
absolutely.
them, and do it. And I think more often we see the top level come in, and because they're so used to it, they just slice everything.
Yeah, of course.
And then there's a shock.
Yeah, of course.
And then you've got another month or 2 or 3
you don't want to do that. I mean, there is maybe in some cases you need to do that, but that's not the case. Most of the time, I would say 80%, 90% of the case, that's not the time. But the reason why new managers or new director, when they come in and they want to change things, is they want to change things and do things the way they've been doing it in the previous place. That's a different place. So you want to adapt to this place because it's easier. It's psychologically, it's easier to do what I've always done than to actually learn something new.
That comment is one of the things that grates on me when someone says that's the way we've always done it. And that's something that you obviously challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically what I normally do, I tend to assess the management team. Once the management team needs whatever they need to perform. And at the time it was a couple of tools they needed and then management etiquette and managing people. One of the tools at the time that helped them to actually achieve what they needed to achieve was full hospitality. Yeah. That was one of the tools at the time that helped me to achieve that within reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
But it was the fact the management team was good, the restaurant was busy. So there is nothing to change here. It's to change the behavior of the managers, to change the approach, how they lead, how they manage. And there were all managers that they made their way up from a waiter to managers, and they never ever had a training.
Yeah.
So they needed someone that actually says, you can do it, and I'm going to coach you. I'm going to train you. You can do it. You're doing a good job. And within 3 months, they just turned the restaurants around.
That's insane.
I just set the goal.
You gave them the tools, basically.
Yeah.
You're right. It's interesting. You say that there is an interesting case where someone's come from that KP, waiter, chef, blah blah blah, and then up to general manager. They're learning, but where is that piece? I think nowadays it's a little bit different because there is the bigger brands do have that pathway, but in the past and some smaller brands will have that. You'll gut throughout, but whereas that missing of that human piece.
Yeah, as you grow, you need to learn and change your behavior according to the role you are in or the growth of your company or business. So you must change. You cannot think what you were thinking when you had. If you have 10 restaurants, you cannot think like when you had one.
Yeah,
you need to think differently.
Yeah,
and that's the approach. So from there on, we did what we had to do. Then we went and opened with this successful brand. We went and opening in partnership restaurants in Monaco, a restaurant in Dubai, which got exposed me to the Middle East and understand the Middle East. Back in 2015 was slightly different.
It was very
different.
Now. Yeah,
it was very different than now. So I started the approach with the Middle East market, and I started to be involved with not only opening restaurants from scratch, but also opening restaurants from growing and brand. And that's what we're helping people with now. Yeah. That's what I like, helping those operators to grow, support them on their path of growth, whether nationally, internationally, or a franchise or organically.
Yeah, it's quite nice to talk about sort of how that piece works as well, because you can take you have a conversation with someone who's got an idea.
Yeah.
And then you can take it all the way through because you've now been able to build those teams together.
Yeah.
There's some people you go to will be like, right, I'll get a builder for you. I'll get this for you. There's not that many that will encapsulate the whole piece of it. Just, I think there's also a trust in there. So if you're working with a brand and you've worked before, there's also that recommendation piece as well. Yeah. That's how hospitality works, right?
Of course.
Unlike clearly, you're going to have a Facebook ad of what you do anymore. It's more of a Massimo, speak to Massimo, speak to his team, and then now, especially with the name of the brand, it's a turnkey.
It's a turnkey solution.
Right? So it's not a little T. You can put that on your website. Turnkey solution, because you have that now, right? With all the way through. So originally it was just a consultancy piece, but you've now expanded that out, right?
Yeah.
So how was that, and how was the fruition of that, doing it, like building? You've got to find the right people as well.
Yeah, you need the right people and you need the right set of people. So we are a good team, but depends on the projects. Then we have a very good connection with freelancers. Yeah. Since COVID, the freelancer market has grown. And you have from a digital creator to interior designer to graphic designer to landscape designer. So we put everybody together, whether through restaurant keys, direct to restaurant keys, or independently. We manage the process and we manage the overall outcome. So our goal is to get you from point A to point B, opening and launching the restaurants.
Yeah.
And working with successful brands over the last 10 years, we've learned what works and what doesn't. we learn from our clients as the clients take our advice. We learn from them, because if they open 1 or 2 restaurants and they are successful, they're doing something right. So you want to understand what there is. So you see the pattern. And working with brands now, we are able to create concept with other clients. We take that from literally 0 to opening.
Yeah.
And the team that does that within the house is always, everyone does their own thing. But as we plug people in.
If so you've got that top level overview of everything.
We have the top level overview.
Yeah, I think the challenge you have with other times is the project manager doing this, the builder's doing this. Yeah. Often we've been to projects and telling handover's done and we're ready to do something, and it's just there's that missing piece. There's just that one person who's not sitting in the middle. Project manager saying they're doing it all, but they're not, because they're just handling.
Whatever the contractor has been appointed.
They're handling the contractor basically. Yeah. But what about all the other pieces and so on? So I think there's there
is so many pieces to add, and this is the value we add to new openings. We put everything together to actually open the restaurant. The challenge is to actually get the operator to understand that, because operators that have been operators, they may know how to operate their restaurants, but they don't know how the restaurant gets fit out. And this is what we learned over these 10 years.
You're plugging in the puzzle pieces.
Yeah, we've learned what it takes to fit out a restaurant, and to the simplest, how waiter station is to be designed for your concept, for best operations. So the waiters doesn't waste a lot of time when he's at the station. Therefore, has got more time to talk to the customers and so on. So we think that's how we would think.
Yeah, methodology. It's a methodology of how, and also it's back to the psychology piece as well, right?
Absolutely.
From what you've asked of how the customer flow goes, how the guest will see.
Absolutely,
it's very interesting.
The flow is very important. We work with interior designers for the same reasons, and we want to work right at the beginning, because we would actually understand the flow, the way you walk through the restaurants, how you are approached by the host desk, what position is the host desk, what is the gesture that a guest does the moment the guest says, okay, when the hostess says, please follow me, you don't want to put the guest in an uncomfortable position where he's going to feel vulnerable. Therefore, you have to follow their flow. Interior designers, or at least most of them, they don't think of that. No, and you as an operator, you see from the top, you don't actually visualize that. Well, what we do exactly that. We visualize the path that the guest has, and it has to be the most natural way to feel empowered. That he goes to a dining room, that he knows where he's going. He doesn't feel uncomfortable, and he goes to the table, and there is that kind of flow. And that's a big piece for that restaurant to succeed.
Yeah. I 100% agree. It's that memorable experience. I think you're feeding into that as well. That's so interesting. I mean, I literally, there's more. We've talked.
We went through restaurant keys.
So talk to me about the training as well, because you've got that.
Yes.
You got the training on the website. So
yes.
What made you start that? What made you? Because I just want to touch on that a little bit.
The one on the website. I mean, So my online piece was always something that I wanted to do and teach. So we did a YouTube channel, which now we have a good following. We generated a lot of people coming to sign up to our newsletter, and we decided to do a training where we teach people how to open their own restaurants. So many people will reach to us to open a cafe or a restaurant, and we cannot support them with the overall platform, but we can support them by giving them the knowledge they need to actually do it themselves. And we do that in 2 ways now, through the online platform where people can just go online and learn from it, or then through our coaching, whether it's done directly by me or some of our coaches. We literally work with them on a 90-day basis, and we support them, coach and mentor them through that process, and make them understand what you need, or review their P&L, or review their locations, or anything that they may need to open a restaurant. For people that they need pops and mums money to open their restaurants. They have maybe 300,000 or 500,000 or $1 million. So we tend not to work with the people that have their investment. It's kind of a little, because they want to do it themselves, but we want to support them.
Yeah, giving them the tools.
And it's for me at least, it's very rewarding. Personally, financially, it's money, they go into the business, but technically it's more rewarding from helping someone like me that wanted to open a restaurant 20 years ago to actually open one and address them the right direction. When you are at the beginning, I see people looking maybe for a location in the wrong location or having a concept that is never going to work. And we are completely frank with them. We give them that advice right there and then. And people who buy that online, they would actually learn from the online platform.
Yeah.
From the online, we use the typical strategies of online marketing. We generate leads, they go into the funnel, and then from the funnel, they can either reach to us or they just buy whatever is online.
Yeah.
And they learn from there.
That's a nice resource, actually.
Yeah.
It's nice to have as well, because there's a challenge of someone putting all that money into a failed.
Yeah.
There's so many concepts that have just opened and closed because they've just not had that support. So it's nice to be able to have that support. We're coming to the end, so this has been really interesting. I want to have some great clips here as well. So Dovisol one is a great comment. The last piece of basically is the future of hospitality, which is one of the questions I have here. So and I'm going to read it actually. It's the restaurant industry has been evolving rapidly with new trends in consumer behavior, technology, and post-pandemic dynamics. What major changes do you foresee in the next few years in the hospitality sector? How should restaurant owners prepare to adapt and thrive in the future landscape? Lots is changing. Since COVID, it's just gone so different.
It's a lot of changes. I think restaurants operators need to focus on what's changes, but without forgetting that we are in the human business. So I think they need to kind of step in with very careful with the 2 feet, one into the modern technological world and the other one into making sure that we are still humans and empower our managers, our leaders, our staff to be emotionally engaged. Saying that, what we need to be careful on is, like, the other day I went just to test ChatGPT and I said, I'm in London, I want a dinner for 2, Japanese food. Can you tell me where to go? So it gave me the restaurants.
Yeah.
And then I asked them, why do you give me these restaurants? Because it's open kitchen, because it's this, because it's that, because it's that. Now the question is, why did they give me these 2 restaurants and not the one I really wanted to go? And I think we should be very smart operators, because a lot of people go to ChatGPT to ask which restaurants I like.
Yeah.
They don't know. Some people, they don't even know what they like. So they go to ChatGPT and says, which restaurants do I like?
Yeah.
So I think a piece of technology that actually can work, because I see people using ChatGPT for anything now. The links, that helps restaurants platform to actually be featured on there and not waiting for the ad. What can you do to actually be featured there today? I also see by colleagues, the customers now, guests in restaurants, they don't speak to the waiter anymore. They just check on ChatGPT. Meaning they ask ChatGPT.
They'll take a photo of the menu.
Take a photo of the menu, so like, tell me what's inside, or tell me what to choose. So they don't speak to the waiter anymore. So I think we need to also see how can we overcome that, and still get people to talk to the waitress. Maybe we need to train the waiters, so the waiter in a way that they can actually get their attention of people. Because
I'll tell you something. I went to the Lavo at the Bowtree Hotel for lunch with a colleague of mine, and the waiter was insane. Really, he was super helpful. Really nice. We were having good banter, and he was over. We were about to get the bill, and the manager came over and said, "Look, I just wanted to let you know, he's a bit shy." I was like, "Oh, no, he was great with us." I was like, "He won't ask you for a tip. He generally does not." I think he's amazing, and I just wanted to not to force you to do anything, but she was Spanish as well, so it was it was an easier conversation. On like a British person coming up to you, you'd be like, and she was like, he'd never ask. I'm not asking you to give him a tip, but if he provides you an excellent service, I'm just doing it for him because he's fantastic, but he's a little bit shy.
Yeah.
And we looked at each other and we were like, yeah, he's 100% getting a tip. I mean, no problem. He was insane. But I think that was a really nice piece of the
manager doing it.
Which you don't often see, to the point there's a restaurant on the corner from here, which is a Philly cheesesteak place. 20-year-old kid behind the bar. He was amazing. Took our order, and the the credit card machine came up and he put it to us and he pressed no for tip. He pressed it. And I was like, what did you do that for? He goes, I mean,
nobody leaves a tip.
No one leaves a tip.
Yeah.
I was like, how often do you do that? He goes, all the time. I said, do it again.
Never gonna get it.
I was like, yeah. I said, do it again. He did it again. I gave him I put a tip on the credit. He was like, I was like, next time, just leave the credit card machine with them. You can walk away if you want. You don't have to say anything. Don't have to make it awkward. Just leave it. And I just so used to doing that, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. I think it's definitely the empowerment piece. I think
it's both. I think it's the empowerment. I think the customer needs to actually understand that they are in the restaurants and they want that. They maybe don't do it, but they want that. But also the waiters, sometimes we go to places now and we go like, this guy is not going to know anything. We have this kind of belief. Well, we should make sure that our waiters know the menu inside out. Not only the menu, know the surrounding. In the old days, we had to learn where buy cigarettes or where buy anything that the customer may want around you. I haven't seen surroundings trainings done lately. So you want to get that across, and the new generation of waiters and waitresses also need to understand that that's important.
Yeah, massively. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to give you a
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. This was so interesting. I love the psychology piece. I think you should. I'd love for you to do some content on just that piece, on that as well. It's definitely an interesting piece of understanding customer behavior.
Yes.
Right? As well. So okay, we're going to go to the final questions.
Yeah.
Best restaurants.
Okay. So this is a challenge one because there is always a best restaurants everywhere you go. But I'm going to pick one because I think it's the time to pick we are going to a new wave of restaurants, and I would pick Halipi. I don't know if you know Halipi.
No.
Okay, you don't know Halipi. It's a restaurant that's been in Bayswater for 60 years.
Yeah.
It was a kebab house. It's a Cypriotic Greek restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
It's still as it was, but the hospitality and the food, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So the owner still cooks in there, which is the son of the owner.
Oh, wow.
And he still buys premium products.
Yeah.
And I think we go in that direction now. That's what I was trying to say before. We're going to a direction where we want to what's comfort, but good. What's we recognize, but good. So we kind of, the days of the finesse, turning something that is not, that probably have passed. We're going to a direction to know what to pick what we know, but done well.
Authentic maybe as well, right?
Authentic.
Yeah.
I think we're going to the direction, to give you the extreme is, and I found this because I travel a lot. And I'll give you an example. I was in Saudi Arabia and I had an option to go to an amazing restaurant, which it looked amazing, but I never heard of, or go to McDonald's. Guess where I went? Went to McDonald's. Reason why I went to McDonald's, because I knew what I was going to get and I knew what I was going to go. Worst case scenario, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get sick. I'm not going to get anything. I don't know the other one. I've never been. I don't know. So 10 years ago, probably I would have tried it. I think we're going to go more to what we recognize, to what we know, rather than being more. We don't want to go where we're going to get surprised. Yeah. So that's how I feel.
It's the comfort piece, I guess.
The comfort piece. I think we go in that direction now.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah. Best burger.
I need to say Salt. I don't know if you know Salt.
No.
They open here as a copy. It was born in Dubai, in Kite Beach.
Where is it here?
They open here. It was a copy. So soon we'll open here.
Yeah.
The actual Salt. And there is many burger shops and everyone, and there is many that you can mention. But the reason why I like Salt is for two reasons. The patty is it's something in between smash and traditional, which I like.
Yeah.
Because sometimes smash burgers, they're too smashed. They just like
crisp.
Yes, it's not meat, so it's in between. But what I like most about Salt, you can have the burger, but you can have the two sliders, which I like the most.
I love the sliders.
So they are not really a burger, but they're not even a small slider.
Yeah.
So
it's in between.
It's in between, and you get two of them, and it's amazing because it's the right bite.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go kind of juicy, wet by the time you finish it. And that's why I like Salt. But also they've opened in the Middle East across the regions. They've been extremely successful. They're doing really, really good.
Yeah.
So that's...
I'll have to get the website off you.
Yeah.
Sounds insane. And another slide, I think there used to be a brand back in the day, I don't know, 8 years ago now, called Bite Me Burger. And he set up in Australia and he opened here. And they were like little mini burgers, just enough for like one and a half bites. And you could order 20 if you have friends, or you'd get 4. So like one would be chicken, one would be lamb, one would be like Big Mac style, and it was so clever because it was just that morsel of like and that selection. But I think more people should do sliders. It's such a
because it's not just a slider come in 3, but this one is 2, and the size is just right.
Yeah,
it's just right.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, best hotel.
This is another challenge one because I would say Claridge's, but I'm not saying Claridge's. I'm going to go to my travels, and because again I travel a lot, and if I need to pick an hotel that is affordable, that is not expensive, I would always go to the Hilton Garden Inn. Yeah, it's very well balanced in everything. I think they got their brand right from the Hilton. It's very difficult. We work with the Marriott a lot, and I know how many brands they have. To get an hotel brand just right, that it's comfortable, they feel so right for business travel, that you're welcome, that they solve the problems, and it's good across the board. I'm a big believer of consistency, and they managed to do that.
Awesome. Okay, 2 questions for the next guest.
2 questions for the next guest. Okay, one question is for behavior leadership. So we'll go through what did you learn? What did you unlearn as you grow, as you were growing as a leader, as your business grew, like we were telling before, as your business was growing, what did you have to unlearn to match the expectation as your business was growing?
I like that.
So let's grow.
And the second one?
The second one, it's if there was one thing in the hospitality that it's overcomplicated, what would you do to simplify it?
Yeah. Oh, there's so many. There's so many. Oh dear, gee, my brain's firing off. That was a really good one. I'm interested to see what the response to that one is. Actually, I might even post that on LinkedIn of what you just said and see what the responses are. There's probably so many. But thank you again. I'm going to give you another.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Happy to be here.
Insane.
Thank you.